Gale nearly got a flick on that.
Can he put it into the path of Matalay? He's thinking about going himself. Matalay, and Matalay! Oh, that's a wonderful goal!
Now on to Benjamin. Just holding off of Benjamin, twisting, turning, that's
It's Liam Henderson to deliver. David Gray has scored.
Hello and welcome back to Down the Slope. Don't worry, we are aware that there's a new volley that needs to go into that intro video. We're working on it in the background. But we've got a full house today.
Do we? Aye, we do.
There we go. But guys, the rule continues. Hibs are good. Harry is good. I'm delighted. It's another game in which I think we just made it very easy. Craig, you were there. But first, before we get to Livi, Craig, you missed the Breakfast Club on Friday. How class was Thursday night?
Oh, unbelievable. I've never heard Easter Road like that before. It was so good, so good. A night I'll never forget. I've kept my ticket and everything, so I look forward to talking about that in 50 years' time.
Oh, very cute and sentimental. The game at the weekend, Liam probably won't speak about that in 50 years' time, but it's still a good one nonetheless.
Aye, no, it's not probably not one for the annals of history, but a good win. A good win, I think, is how I would describe it.
No, it's one of those ones where we've probably actually got too many talking points to actually carve through. So just to break it up a bit, Greg, you were there, talk to us a bit about the atmosphere. Was it 4,000 Hibs fans went through the game?
So I believe Hibs, through the official channels, were only saying 2,500, but I've seen Kieran Powell saying it was 4, and it looks more like 4.
I always go with a big number anyway. That works for me.
Yeah, it sounds better. The atmosphere was good. Everything you'd expect. It was absolutely roasting. I wasn't expecting the sun to hit us quite as much as it did. But it was basically the entire first half and second half, the sun was on us. Even required a half-time shade break as well. So that was nice. And the football was good. I thought we were quite comfortable in the end.
Nice. And Liam, I'm going to let you open up. We've got a few players that kind of made their starting debut. Is that what they call it, starting debut? Who do you want to take out of the boys that impressed at the weekend?
Full debut? Is that the correct terminology?
Full debut. That makes sense, yeah.
You're only old enough to remember. I hate when I'm going to come to a cultural reference point, you used to remember it, but Craig Brown used to pronounce debut. It used to really tickle me that he pronounced it. He's like your spirit animal, Harry. Couldn't he pronounce anything?
God.
Debut. Where were we going with this? Who impressed me? I mean, there's obviously quite a lot to pick from, but I thought I'll start with the man in the centre of the park, Miguel Chaiwa, who I thought just was very, very good. Obviously, he's there with the graphic, like you knew I was going to say it already. This is definitely not pre-planned. No, I thought he just had a very industrious, very effective, 70-something minutes on the park. Didn't put a foot wrong. Showed some very nice touches. Broke up the play. I think he looks very, very good on a game that, to be honest, is a very true introduction to Scottish football. Livi away. It's quite a Scottish football game for him to just step in and just look very at home right away. So, very impressed with Mr. Chaiwa.
Do we know if young boys, did they play on a plastic pitch? Like,
they definitely get at least used to it. I don't know if they still do. That's a good point.
We were thinking maybe he's used to it.
Maybe. I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole. Hibs players and being able to play on grass, plastic pitches or no again. Don't mind that with Melkerson.
Oh my God!
2 years of speculating which surface would be best for him. No, he was very impressive. Maybe the club he played for, was it last season or season 4? He was playing for a club in the Swiss second tier. Were they in the second tier? Schaffhausen or whatever they were called. I would imagine they probably play on a plastic surface. Just giving the league out there. Here, did you see that mental thing yesterday? That's only the second time in Grant Hanley's career that he's played on a plastic pitch.
Seriously? Wow.
Because obviously he's been in England, so there's no clubs in England with a plastic pitch.
Oh. And do you know that's his first time playing a like professional game in Scotland, like at a club level?
Nah.
No.
Mentally.
So making history all of it. But an interesting point you made there, it just reminded me as you said it. But another player, who was supposed to kind of fill the same position. But no Kenna, look at the look at his performance at Livingston away in comparison to what Chaiwa's was. You know what I mean? Like,
no Kenna as well, where the hype was so high. Whereas I feel like Chaiwa's kind of come in because we're doing quite well. Like, he's kind of probably expected to be, I think you used the word rotation option the other day, Harry, so we'll stick with that. You know, like a rotational player. You know, maybe the expectation on him wasn't too high, but then he comes in and just quietly has a performance like that on Sunday, which was far in excess of probably anything that Nohan Kenna produced in a Hibs shirt.
And Craig, do you want to keep speaking to Chaiwa, and then you can take on the next main man?
Chaiwa. No, I was impressed with him. I thought he picked his battles well. There was a couple of times in the first half I noticed him getting outstrengthed by Silla, and then he just he never went back to that to try and compete with him. He was a lot smarter and chose his battles well. Very, very aggressive player. I noticed that he was dead up for going into challenges and seemed to have a bit of quality on the ball. But I just thought he controlled the midfield very, very well. Different type of player to any that we've got at the moment, I would say. He definitely looks more like a six than the other guys. So it was a very impressive debut, to be fair.
Another thing I liked about him as well is it didn't obviously result in any goals or anything, but he didn't seem shy of taking a shot. Like, I think there was at least 2 times he picked up the ball on the edge of the box, he shifted to his right foot and he just whacked it. And I don't think we've got enough midfielders at the moment that are actually doing that sort of thing. Obviously, we'll come on to a different midfielder who done that towards the end of the game. But I'll get the ball rolling. Thibaut Klidje. We've finally got something with the new man to actually get excited about. I don't think he's had enough minutes to kind of showcase what he can do, but he looks like he's going to be a very good player for Hibs. I love the fact that even though he's quite small, he's not afraid at all to get stuck in. There was one point where he was like a battering ram and he just kept running through Livingston players and fouls were being thrown left, right and centre. But he's also got so much quality on the ball. I'm very excited from what I've seen from this man at the weekend there. I was speaking about it with Becks earlier, and I don't know if he's actually going to start in the next couple of weeks, but I reckon by the end of September, I think he'll probably work himself into the starting lineup. But Craig, you were at the game. How good was it to see this man's first goal for the club?
Always good when it doesn't take 6 months to get it, unlike some, or you just don't get it at all. Do you know what I was impressed with? Was aerially. He said the spring in his jump was very impressive. I'm not just saying that because he scored a header for his goal. There was another couple of times where he got up really, really well. And his first touch and link-up play was good as well. That I did enjoy that. There was one, I can't remember who played the ball, who got played through and he just took it down on his knee. And it looked like a player who knew what he was doing. He looked comfortable on the ball. So I'll be excited to see him start a few more games. I know Gray said after the game that he's still going to be looking to be cautious with him, so hopefully we'll see a bit more of him going forward.
Sorry, you looked like you were going to say something earlier.
No, I was laughing at something that's in a group chat. Sorry, I was slightly distracted. Apologies.
That's all right. But on Craig's final point there, he was essentially saying that Gray's going to... I just think we should trust Gray. You know how everybody's been throwing the toys at the pram about Klidje not starting. It seems like it came in, and when he started, when Gray wanted him to, he'd done a good job at it.
It's almost like the manager knows what he's doing. Maybe people should start trusting in that a wee bit more. I think the skepticism, if I'm getting that word right, is fair to begin with, because we've had a number of years of not really being able to trust people and at the club. But I think now there's no better people to trust than Gray. Let him do his job. Just let him get on with
it. Totally. I just want to come and emphasise that. I do think that some of the reaction, I think it was post the Kilmarnock game about Klidje not playing minutes, I thought was well over the score. I don't think every player that you sign needs to come right into the team right away, particularly not when you're doing well. And he had some really good moments yesterday. I think his pace looks there's going to be a real threat to teams in behind, particularly anyone who dares to play a high line against us. And I thought he had some good touches in the build-up play as well. And he wasn't afraid to come short at points and get involved as well. I think the signs are he'll be another really good signing.
Absolutely. And speaking about another good sign, I think at this point people are just starting to say unanimously that he's going to be the player of the season because he is very, very good at the whole football thing. What a goal, Josh Mulligan! My God, that we have been screaming out for a screamer for weeks, and then Liam, we get two in a matter of days.
I don't think, and again, I'm going to say this with a wee bit of confidence. I don't think I ever remember him scoring 2 goals as good as that in the space of a week or in the space of 4 days. No, case closed. Thank you.
I was trying to come up with an example of it. I couldn't get it.
Because like the goal Bowie scored away to Dundee United, it was nice, but it wasn't like full on screamer. You know what I mean?
It was a thunder bastard, and it was such a it was such a reliever, that goal at that stage of the game, wasn't it? Like it was a massive moment. So take that away. Can I say one thing I liked about this goal that was maybe go a wee bit unnoticed is I think you saw the value of Nicky Cadden being on the pitch for set pieces, because what happens there is he puts a ball at pace into an area that's difficult to defend, and ultimately what that means is the defender is left in a position where kind of they've only really got one option, and that is to head it directly back out into the space. It's been something people that sit around me will know that I've been going about this for weeks and probably getting bored of me saying it, but when he's not in the team, the quality of the deliveries generally is not as good, particularly from sort of wide free kicks and crosses into the box. It just the speed at which the ball travels when he crosses it just makes the life of the defender so much more difficult than those sort of flighted, lofted balls into the box. And I just think in this league, when we've seen already this season in so many games the importance of set pieces, I think that's a huge thing in our arsenal to be able to bring that off the bench.
Yeah, because I think, to be fair, like McGrath's definitely able to take a good corner, a good set piece, but I think Cadden's definitely the guy we want on them.
I suppose we scored one. Was it Boyle that took the corner for Klidje yesterday?
But the commentator was saying how terrible the set pieces had been, and then obviously the commentator's curses what got us that goal.
Aye. I generally don't like Boyle on corners, to be honest. As a general rule of thumb.
You can what I didn't like on fucking corners. You see, it was that big Muirhead that was taking it for them.
Aye.
That's a joke. That I was actually wound up. I didn't care about Livy, but I was annoyed. I was like, get someone smaller taking that corner.
It's a wee bit like Declan Rice taking it for Arsenal. I've always thought that was quite strange.
You know, one that's strange as well is we used to have, you know, when you have a corner, you put 2 men back pretty much exclusively, unless you're going for a winner in the last minute or whatever. We used to put somebody tall. Was it Lewis Miller maybe? Quite often used to be like one of the men back, and I was like, that is mental. He should be in the mixer. No, on the halfway line when a corner's coming in.
It's your 2 fullbacks by default, isn't it? Like they just go the 2 fullbacks by default without actually thinking about the difference between the fullback and the centre half. I don't know. I think my sense is we'll probably score quite a lot of goals from balls into the box from wide areas, whether it be corners or free kicks this season, regardless of who's taking them, just because of the kind of players that we've got. And we've got a lot of guys that are willing to attack it. But I just think Nicky Cadden just gives us a slightly better quality delivery.
And we'll come on to squad depth in just a bit, but are the players that played is there any other players you want to mention? Just a quick one for me. I thought Salinger done well. I know he didn't really have any saves to make, but I think his distribution was fine. I just think in pre-season, I know there was he made.
Did he make a save?
Is that I don't to get him in the team, Harry?
No, this is me saying that I just think Livingston. The surface actually looked better than previous years, to be fair.
Mate, I was at the game. I was really disappointed in it because I've been listening to the radio every week, and they've been saying how amazing it is, and the ball runs true. The ball was still bouncing straight up in the air when it was going. It was not running like a grass pitch. And obviously, is it ever going to run like a grass pitch? But I was expecting it to play really nice. And there was a rumour I seen on Twitter saying that they'd apparently only watered half the pitch to begin with. So I don't know if they were doing it tactically to try and make it a bit drier for us. But it definitely was not as good as what I was hoping.
Which compounds my fact that Solinger done well. But I just like I like gassing people up when they do well, you know. Anyone else on your guys' agenda that you want to say had a good game that we've not mentioned?
There's one that I've been thinking about. It was actually in that last photo that you had up, Harry. Warren O'Hora. I've been very, very impressed with him recently. Going under the radar a wee bit, to be fair, just steady. Very, very steady. And in recent weeks, I've probably had a wee bit more fear creeping in when the ball's going towards Iredale or when they're attacking towards Iredale, which was maybe the flip before. And I've had no cause for concern with O'Hora whatsoever. And I think even saying no cause for concern is probably a bit harsh on him, because I think he's been better than that as well. I think he's been consistently probably one of our better players. To be fair, in a period where a lot of the players are playing well. But I've been very impressed with him, and I think at the weekend he was solid. Him and Grant Hanley both. I was impressed. Anything that came to the box, Hanley was getting his head on it. So, but yeah, he was good.
I think Hanley was good. Alassane Mane was good. I feel like he was probably sort of first half or 40 minutes. He was the one that impressed me the most, and then sort of Chaiwa took over a wee bit from him, and probably then was the most impressive for the remainder of the game. I actually thought Kanai Omegwa had a really good game as well. I thought he really looked like he was enjoying the physical battle at points out there. There was a couple of really nice shoulder barges, just getting right stuck in. I thought, he's a player who's probably harshly had quite a lot of criticism through kind of pre-season and stuff, but he seemed to really enjoy himself out there on Sunday, and it was just really nice to watch. I mean, in some respects, it's, without being too down on him, that's the sort of standard of opposition he's used to playing against. He's used to playing Championship football, and Livingston, for the most part, are really I know they've got a few decent players, but they're pretty much a Championship squad. And I felt like he was acquitted himself very well down the right-hand side, mostly in a defensive sense, but in an attacking sense, he was willing and able to get involved. Crossings, maybe, if I was going to be, pernickety, crossings maybe a wee bit of a worry, a wee bit of an issue, just in terms of that quality of delivery. But there'll be a lot of games he'll play this season where maybe that's not going to be too much of a concern.
I was impressed with him as well. Definitely, I would agree. In a defensive sense, I was probably more impressed. I thought maybe sometimes my only thing that I would criticise him on would be his forward runs. I felt there was a number of times where his positioning could have been maybe 10, 15 yards higher up when we had the ball. There was a few times where maybe we were out on the left, and then we're looking to switch it across the field, so come into Mane or maybe Levitt at that point later on in the game. And they were looking for the crossfield ball, and Mego was 10 yards further back than he should have been, and there was a lot of space, and they were reluctant to hit it because he wasn't there already. So that would be my only thing. But I thought he definitely grew as the game went on, and I really enjoyed his second half performance in particular.
It is funny how he got criticised for literally being subbed on in the away game to Midtjylland. Like, I don't care if I keep on pronouncing it wrong, I'm just going to continue to do so. But that it was literally the fact that he got brought on the pitch as opposed to his actual performance, because I think in competitive minutes he's actually been really good so far with what he's done.
He weirdly got hammered. Do you remember that game where he came in, he'd been on loan at Airdrie, and he came back for a brief period before going back to Airdrie. He came in against Rangers under Montgomery, I'm going to say it was. He got caught out with that ball, which fullbacks get caught out with all the time, that ball in between the fullback and the centre-back. And folk were fucking hammering him for weeks after, written him off after that. I'm like, just give peace. Like, at that point as well, Rangers were not great, but they were what levels above what we were under Nick Montgomery. So it wasn't exactly an easy game for him to come in from the cold and play. I think it just goes to show you, bringing young guys into the team in an environment where you're doing well, it's just so much easier for them than it is bringing them into an environment where you're doing shite and you're hoping that they're just going to be like the second coming of, I don't know who at right back, fucking Cafu, to get you out of the hole.
But yeah, it's refreshing when we can go through an entire Hibs starting team, and that's what do you call it? That I still don't know how to segue on when I've not got an actual segue. I'm sorry, guys. But we've literally went through nearly the entire starting 11, said they had a good game, so it's a good time to be a Hibs fan. But the last thing on the League Cup before we move on, Rangers away. Not the worst time to play them. I'm not totally mad by it. I'd be much more mad if we'd got Celtic. So probably the second worst draw, but if anybody can do it, why not Hibs?
I was still a wee bit disheartened when I seen it, because it's just, I'm getting frustrated with us constantly getting, or what feels like constantly anyway, getting Old Firm draws in cups. Where's our like easy home game? So that was a wee bit disappointing, but at the same time they are absolutely ranked rotten now. How long is it? When is it we played them? Is it September or something? Maybe start of September, I'm guessing.
It's a good while away anyway. It'll be a midweek as well, won't it?
So here's hoping they don't improve too much between now and then, because that would be my only concern, is that their new players will settle a wee bit.
I'm sure if we play them at the moment, if we get into Europe, then we've got like Rangers, Hearts, Celtic European group stage game, like 4 games in a row. So that's going to be absolutely mental when we get 4 wins on the bounce there.
We could beat the best week ever though. We could beat last season's best week with Celtic, Dundee United, and Hearts, and go one better than that.
Wouldn't have any complaints myself. But let's get into the squad depth, because I think a big thing that came, that we had 6 changes on Sunday compared to the team that started in Europe. And this is a squad that we had last year. I'm not going to read out all the names. Some of the names that jump out to me are Barsic. But then even the likes of like Ekpeteta, Doyle Hayes, Vente, Harry McCurdy, Luke Amos, it's just players that didn't quite work out at Hibs, and we've upgraded in those positions. Liam, do you want to give your thoughts on just how much better the team looks at the moment than it did, or the squad looks at the moment than it did last year?
I mean, first of all, this current crop, there aren't any Riley Harbottles, Jair Tavares, Alan Del Ferriers, Ruben McAllisters, Josh O'Connors. I mean, Jake Doyle Hayes, George Walcott, Luke Amos, Harry McCurdy. You know, there aren't any players that like that who we have to sit here and kind of kid on that they're going to be up to it. Like there might be at the end of the season 2 or 3 guys that we go, well, didn't really work out, but they're not horrific players. I think I think a lot of what you see in last year's squad, not to be too down on the guys that have left, but you look at the clubs they've gone to, if they've even got a club after Hibs, kind of tells you the sort of market that we were shopping in, and it shows you what happens when you've got a really fragmented recruitment policy, where you've got a director of football who didn't really understand what his job was, working under a CEO who liked to get involved in transfers, and probably about 3 or 4 managers worth of players. Into 12 months later on, we actually have a bit of a strategy. We're pretty clear on the type of players that we want to sign. We're pretty clear on the markets that we want to be shopping in. It's the transformation in 12 months is genuinely nothing short of astounding when you look at that squad versus the squad that we're about to bring up on stream.
And just one thing to bear in mind with this squad as well is the likes of Levitt, Boyle, try to see if there's any other players in there. They just weren't seen as like able to take I'm not a map, and Levitt's the greatest player in the world. But a lot of the fan base had written those players off, and now they're key components of this current squad. And by the way, if you're listening on Spotify, as always, we do advise you to click on YouTube from time to time just so you can see our fancy new graphics. Craig, this is a much comfier feeling seeing this squad than the one last year, isn't it?
It is. I don't that squad that we had up on screen previously, I think that was maybe like the pre-season squad or something, because there was some names missing from that.
There's no Triantis, no Mikola.
And Nicky Cadden and stuff. But I mean, it's absolutely light years ahead now, isn't it? The depth, as was perfectly demonstrated yesterday, is far superior now to what it was. And even in that, you've still got, I'm trying to look at this current squad, is it just Joe Newell that's out just now? Rudy come back.
Yeah.
I
think Watco's back. He's just not in the squad.
He's back training now,
on the
isn't he?
bench, but he's been on the bench once or twice. But the squad's
nice,
so
I didn't
full
realise.
that was the point I was making yesterday. I mean, him and McIntyre have been on the bench. McIntyre's been on every bench start of the season, but now the squad's filled out. There's not space for Jacob McIntyre on the bench anymore. So I think that demonstrates the strength and depth. Whereas, to be honest, looking at that squad that you had flashed up on screen 30 seconds ago, Jacob McIntyre probably wouldn't have been far off starting.
And the good thing is for these young guys, there will be squad space opens up again at some point because there'll be a couple of players get injured here and there. So hopefully these guys will still be able to get some minutes at some stage. That's obviously is ultimately the aim with bringing them in and about the first team squad is to get them on the park at some point. But just all over the pitch, the midfield at the moment in particular, I think is looking quite strong. I know. I believe it was Observer quoted the club as saying they were still out for an out-and-out starting number 6, with Chaiwa still viewed as a sort of prospect signing. But it's just completely different, isn't it? Really, it's incomparable. Really, it's that much better.
And Craig, I'll ask you the question first, then Liam, you chime in. By the end of the window, what players, if any, or what positions, sorry, if any, would you want to see us bring in?
It's difficult because if you'd asked me yesterday, I still would have said definitely we want a 6. But I was that impressed by Chaiwa that it's maybe you're not viewing that as such a need. I'd still like another centre half. I think the vast majority of the time when we play a formation that requires 3 centre halves, one of them 4 that you've got in that graphic there gets injured, and you're a wee bit light on the ground. I know Abita can drop in, but obviously his performances at the moment would keep him as a starting left wing back. So maybe another centre half or another one that can be used at both. Anyway.
I wouldn't be completely averse to a left side centre half, but I think the 2 priorities for me are a physical striker in the Kieran Bowie mould to take some of that load off him. Whether that's as a backup or rotating between the 2, potentially even for certain games, you maybe would see it being beneficial going with 2 big men. I know we've quite enjoyed the big man, wee man thing, but Bowie's got the pace to run in behind, so if he was up with another big man, I don't think that wouldn't necessarily be, that's a double negative. That might be compatible to play the 2 of them. And then I think the other one for me is a right wing back. I think potentially as a starting caliber right wing back, that might be something that we look to do. Conscious that we've got a couple of guys who can play that position, who are listed in another position there in Mulligan and Chaiwa, but I think I would really rather we go with specialists. And I think when you're playing a 3-5-2, we saw the benefit of the 2 Cadden twins when they were really good last season, was that they were, they are specialists ultimately in that position. So I think that's where I'd like to see us move. Would be interested, by the way, just as if so to suggest a name. I'm not sure he's a right wing back. I think he's more right back, but the boy Keelan Adams at Falkirk, as if you were looking for a name. I think very interesting career journey. Might be someone we want to sniff around.
I've not seen enough of him to actually fully comment, to be honest.
Is he Scottish?
No,
I think he's from New Zealand. He's
right.
got a really weird career history. I think he was playing for like Glasgow, Stirling Uni, or one of the 2, and then just went straight from them to Falkirk. So play like in the Lowland League, it went straight to Falkirk, and then had like 1 season at Falkirk, and obviously was a bit of a standout for them there. I don't know, like it might not be quite of the level, but he's certainly a player who's had pretty rapid, growth in terms of his career trajectory. Right-footed. What I was impressed with him in both the Dundee United game and the highlights of the Livi game that I saw was just really wants to take the ball on the front foot and get himself into the space and just cross a really early opportunity. And I do think we want guys that are going to cross the ball early. I think in this team, I think Ewan said that a few weeks ago. It just makes sense with the sort of options that we've got up top.
Well, we've got a track record of delivering at least one signing per season. Craig's obviously got Mulligan in there, so we know for a fact that the Hibs scouts listen. So listen up, Hibs scouts. Liam's giving you another wee gem there. And I don't really have any differing comments. You guys kind of covered off everywhere that I would want. The centre back, as always, I like stockpiling left-sided centre backs, as we all very well know, and it never happens. So if we want to bring in someone left-footed, that'll fit in there. Perfecto. But up next, it is potentially the biggest European tie of the century for us. I don't know if that's been a bit overdramatic, but it's literally on the cusp of group stage football. I couldn't tell you if we've actually been this far in one of the knockout competitions. So
we got this far out of Villa when that was a playoff, was it not?
Was it?
Exact same round.
All right, but that was against Aston Villa, and we were never going to win that, so it doesn't really count, does it?
Bit negative. We only got beat 8-0. It was never
as I always say, if there was a third leg, you never know what could have happened. But anyway,
I don't
moving on
think
to this year.
If I'm being pernickety as well, I don't think there was another round after AEK Athens. I'm pretty sure that was us into what was the group stages then proper. But other than those two, Harry, it is the biggest game.
Yes. Well, perfect. Well, it's definitely bigger than Villa, because Villa was just a bit of a glorified friendly for John McGinn to have fun. Anyway, we are playing against Legia Warsaw. Liam, you can criticise me if I've somehow pronounced that incorrectly. Polish team, if you want to get there, you can go to Poznan and get a wee train over. There is direct flights, they will be more expensive. Unfortunately, the big man is not going to be able to make it, but I will be handing over the portable mic to both Craig and Liam, and Ewan's also making it over. So it should be a massively fun time. Guys, how excited are you for a wee jolly over to Poland?
I'm excited. Like I'm flying to Poznan, though, and flying from Poznan to Warsaw. And I think you're doing the same, Craig. Yeah?
I am. Yep, I'm on your flight.
I thought it was a train job.
You can get the train, but I think it just takes longer.
Yeah.
So Becks is probably getting the train because it takes longer. That'll be her logic. More time travelling. And then I can't remember how we get. Is it Brussels we're flying back from on the way back?
Correct, yes, it is.
Yeah, Brussels. I didn't, for once actually, I didn't have the responsibility of booking the flights this time, so I actually feel a wee bit in the dark as to where we're going. So I look forward to my name being spelled incorrectly on the booking or something, and have an issue at the airport, but or my date of birth being wrong. From my pal that's known me for 30 years. But no, I'm looking forward to it, man. I don't know about Craig. Craig's probably not looking forward to it as much because he's got to travel with me. That's probably a wee bit of damper on it for him.
Don't worry, I'll sit away for you. It's all right.
But Craig, I think this is number 6 for you, following Hibs in Europe.
Yes, I think you'll be reliable on that, to be fair, because you've been on every other one with me. So I've quite a few now. That seems mental when you say it like that. This will be the 6th, so looking forward to it just as much as every other one. They're always absolutely class. There's nothing quite like it, to be honest. So I can't wait to just, as always, getting amongst the Hibs fans. That's the best bit.
And a quick debate just before we actually start talking about the game, because we've had it in another group chat. I don't think we've actually broached the subject with you. But do you prefer a top-class trip to Hampden or a European away day?
European away day.
I don't think it's a competition. If you've been to a European away day, I just think that it just blows out the water. It's not even close.
I've got to, like, the thing is, it's going to a different place, and you know, it's going to a place that you've probably never been before, and you're probably quite unlikely to go again. Versus Hampden, where, look, I've got some amazing memories at Hampden, but I've got some awful memories at Hampden as well. So, like, there is that balance. There's that slight PTSD factor. Plus, like, it's not quite as sexy jumping on a minibus going along the M8 as it is jumping on a plane or jumping on several planes, as the case may be, to get there.
There's definitely much more of an adventure feeling.
Aye.
The European trip.
Do you know what I love? So I've not got anywhere near the resume that Craig's got in terms of European. I can't believe I said resume or American. This is rubbing off me, Harry. I've not got anywhere near the travel CV that Craig's got. I think I've only got 2 trips in Europe, am I right in saying, under my belt? And what I love is hearing everyone's different travel journeys to get there. It's class. Like, some of it sounds scary, and they've done like this Raj thing where they've like, we flew to Berlin, then we drove from Berlin to fucking Zurich, and then we got another flight to Zurich, and you're like, what?
The guy that we met on the train
Oh my
going
God.
to Denmark, he had an unbelievable one. I think he flew into Dusseldorf on the Tuesday, then went out clubbing till 2 a.m. then got a sleeper train to Copenhagen
At
3
3
a.m.
a.m.
So he came out of the club at 2, then went and got a sleeper train at 3, steaming, and then was on the same train as us from Copenhagen to Herning at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and he was still drinking it. I don't know how he's alive. He said on the Wednesday night into Thursday he didn't get into his room till 10 a.m. Like,
Jesus.
I mean, how are you alive?
I'm just not built that way. I'm just not built that way at
Very
all.
impressive.
I can't lie, lads.
People's dedication and commitment is like unwavering, but there is also people just love the fact that it's just like a few random days away, just doing like some really obscure shit for a few days. Like, for me, like I'm at a stage of life now where like this sort of thing is like, you know, it's real protected time, like getting a few days away to like just go and I mean, basically drink too much, eat irresponsibly, and act fairly irresponsibly as well, which is
Come on.
Cabbage. But the thing that always either makes or breaks a European away day, and me and Craig have actually had quite a lucky hit rate, to be fair. I think we've only lost the once, but it was on penalties to Bromby, so it wasn't that terrible, to be honest. I'm excluding again the Villa game. That was just a glorified friendly. But there's actually football to be played. We're playing against Legia Warsaw. And guys, for the first time ever, Becks went to mainland Europe and she watched 90 minutes of Legia Warsaw against a team that I'm not going to attempt to pronounce. This was the Wisła Plock, and they got beat 1-0. So for the first time ever in Down the Slope history, guys, we've got Becks's scouting report. I've not told her about this. I think she's going to be raging that I've done it, but I asked her for bullet points, so I'm going to rattle them off to you and we'll see what happens. So, Nasame, NSAME, I'm assuming that's Nasame, needs marked. Would mention he scored 32 goals in 32 league matches for young boys a few years ago, and his overall goals to game ratio there was crazy. And then about the team in general, they look quite dirty. They were giving away a lot of fouls away last night. Think Kieran Bowie, do your thing. They don't look convincing at the back. They came 5th in the league last season. However, they did beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Their fans aren't in good spirits on Twitter after their defeat last night and getting knocked out of the Europa League. I believe I checked the comments of the post on which they'd got beat, and someone said, "Admin, you are a melon," which I did enjoy quite a bit. So yeah, the main thing that, because I chatted about it the other day as well, that Nasami boy seems a bit of a handful, but the only thing is it's given me a bit of Francolino vibes in the sense that they're probably a one-man team, although they've got players of quality around the park. They probably kind of only big up the one player, which will catch us off guard somewhat. So that was, for the first time, Becks's scouting report. Hope you enjoyed. Liam, what are you thinking about the game? Is it something, do you think after the 2 ties we've had so far, we can take confidence going into this one, or are you still quite cautious?
Definitely. I mean, it's a big club, right? Big club, play at a big stadium. They've got, a certain amount of European pedigree. Probably not the sort of recent history that a side like Midtjylland would have, and probably not as big a past history as a team like Partizan Belgrade would have. They sort of land somewhere in the middle of those two. I think it'll be difficult going over there. I do think we probably have to take a positive result at the very least from Easter Road into the game over there, because I think it'll be tough, and it'll be an environment that will be, equally as if not more challenging than Belgrade. So I do think it's difficult, but I don't think they've got. They don't seem to quite have the scouting network nor the finances that Midtjylland have. So it's not like they've got players that they're jumping off the page that you're going, oh, this guy, he's got, like Francolino was linked to, it was like a 25 million euro move to Borussia Dortmund. They don't have that. They've got a guy who used to play left wing back for Wolves in the Premier League who starts in centre mid, Ruben Vinagre, who I think is a decent player at Premier League level, but probably not a standout, probably not good enough to still be there. And a 37-year-old Polish international centre-back who's played against Scotland fairly recently. Those are the only 2 names that really, apart from the boy Alfarella, who I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, you were obviously linked with at the beginning of the summer. Those are the only 2 names that sort of jumped off the page as players that I was familiar with. And Jedrzejczyk, the centre-back, has literally played for Legia Warsaw, I think, pretty much his whole career, and is, he's not someone who I think... a 37-year-old centre-back is not exactly the sort of thing that's going to put the fear of God into Martin Boyle, Thibaut Klidje and Kieran Bowie, let's be honest. So I do think it's one of those ties that will be very difficult. It is winnable, but it has to be approached with caution that they did beat Chelsea last season in this competition, so they are not going to be mugs. It's whatever happens, it will be difficult over 2 legs, but is it achievable for us to get through? Yes, it is.
That was a nice trick, a mic drop moment. Craig, are we going to go there and pump these guys?
No, I don't think we will pump them. I'm very much in line with Liam. I think, to be fair, I think most people will. It's a sensible approach, is that you need to take a decent result over there to have a real good hope. It'll be, in my mind, I'm viewing them as a similar level to Midtjylland, and with the caveat that I think it'll be a much harder place to play in than Midtjylland was. So I think this week's important.
I think, to be honest, I think you're giving them slightly too much respect given their current form. I think they're probably more similar to the level of Partizan. I think the thing I said on Friday, and I stick by it, I don't think Partizan are a bad team. I know they've got a young age, but those players that we're playing, they'll go for big money one day. So I think that we've done very well. And I think that because of the age of that team, we're not getting the credit we deserve. I agree it's not going to be easy, but they're going to get pumped. We're going to absolutely batter them. And we don't do this often on the podcast, but guys, I actually want to advocate. The tickets are on general sale and they're very fairly priced. If you're not doing anything on Thursday, come along to Easter Road, buy a ticket, make sure it's a sellout, get behind the team, and it's going to be a fucking magic experience. We're going to go out, we're going to scare these fuckers, and we're going to pump them. Liam, Craig, Ewan, 1,500 plus more are going to go over to Warsaw, see us get to the group stage, or league stage, or whatever the fuck it's called now, and it's going to be fucking fantastic. That's how I'm seeing this. But and see, how much are the tickets? Was it 15 for season ticket holders and 20 for general sale?
Correct.
That's so fairly priced for European football. You see Celtic and Rangers, they're selling their tickets for £37. I know it's a different competition, but Hibs are trying to do well by the fans here and get fans along to this game. Get behind the team and support them. This is massive for the club. We were all gutted at the end of last season when we didn't get our guaranteed X million money. It's in our hands. We could have earned that this season. So for me, I just think it's such an experience to be part of Hibs making history. So for me, if you're not there on Thursday night, at least watch on the TV. But Craig, it'll be a good game nonetheless, won't it?
It's a good sales pitch, Harry. I'm actually not convinced it's entirely necessary, to be honest. I think it will be another sellout. Regardless, I think anybody that's gone to the last two at Easter Road, if you were going along as somebody that goes to a game every now and then, or maybe just goes to a couple of seasons, you couldn't not want to go back to that, because both of them have been outstanding. The atmosphere's been unreal. Even the Midtjylland game that we lost, you can't not have enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully just another unreal atmosphere and get a good result.
Aye, I think so. I think so too. I think Craig's right. I was a wee bit surprised when I saw the usual sort of seat counters when the general sale was released at 12. There was as many seats as there were, which meant the season ticket holders hadn't taken up their options. I like Craig. I think it will ultimately be a sellout. I just wonder if ticket sales are a wee bit slower because this is a first leg rather than a deciding leg, and people are sort of hedging their bets. There's also the potential a lot of people are also, it's been expensive so far this season following Hibs. A lot of games that aren't included in the season ticket that people have had to fork out for. So that's maybe also a factor. But I do think, with this being the last game of the qualifiers, it's the biggest game of the lot, right? This is the one it all hinges on. And I would argue probably the biggest in terms of the size of club that we're facing.
Missed that, definitely.
Biggest club that we're facing. They'll bring the biggest support with them of the three clubs by some distance, I would imagine. There's probably more, Legia fans in the UK as well. So it will be. I think it'll be, the atmosphere will be white hot on Thursday night. And look, they're a club, as I said earlier, they've got a history of doing well in this competition. They won 4 out of their 6 group stage matches last season. They beat Real Betis at home. They beat our old foes, Molde. And like I say, they beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge as well. So they are a good side, and I do think that means that the players deserve our backing against a team of that calibre. So I just hope it's another rocking night. I'm looking forward to seeing the flamethrowers for what feels like the 20th time this season, and looking forward to hearing the joyful Kilmarnock Blues before kick-off too.
I think it's one of those things, obviously, because of the opposition we've played. It is cool when you get to see a full away end in Europe. Like, it's something a bit different. It's always a much different atmosphere to what we see from any domestic team. So it is part of the experience that we've not really had so far. So I think that's a good shout out. Do you reckon it'll be half the stand? In my head, they'll kind of cut it in half, so Hibs will be on the left side and Legia will be on the right side of the south.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure they'll give them that much. I think they'll want to sell as much to Hibs fans as possible. Take an example of the last couple of games, like the demand is there, and the demand will be there again. And I've had a quick look on the old.
I was going to say, we must already know because tickets have been released.
Yeah, and a lot of the seats are away. But they must have. Surely they've got their ticket information already. You would think, with it being on Thursday.
I think I'm
so
pretty sure I saw
Kieran
on Twitter. Sorry, Craig. I'm pretty sure I saw him say on Twitter already that how it was being divvied up. I just forget how exactly. But they'll have a pretty big allocation, I think.
Yeah. Well.
Which is fine. Like, there's nothing to be worried about. Like, we're going to have a big allocation over there as well, right? So,
of course, I was going to say it'd be if hopefully it's reciprocated and we'll get a good allocation, because I think there'll probably be a lot of Hibs fans going across.
Definitely. And then one man who has made all decisions, of course, as he always will, David Gray. I think the only headache, realistically, I'm expecting it to be the same outfield that's pretty much started every European game. Assuming McGrath's back, and I think he'll be back in for for Campbell. The only headache is potentially in goals. Do you guys, first of all, what would you do? And secondly, what do you think Gray would do? Because I think it might potentially be a different answer. If you want, I'll take it, the tension. I think the game plan worked perfectly against Partizan, and I think that two individual errors, although he made up for them come the end of the game, I think did fault is Smith, and I think that I'm glad that he got away with it, and I'm glad that he made amends, but I don't want to take the risk in as big a game as this. I know it's a lot of pressure to put on to Solinger, but for me personally, I would make the call and change it. I just, even for the sake of Smith, with it being such a big game, if he crumbled again, I think it's his. Because the frustrating thing that we saw on Thursday is, I think if he makes one mistake, I think that there's going to be fans that get at him. I'm not saying that's justified, but I think there will be, and I don't want that atmosphere in the game. If he miskicks it once, it's just going to go. You're going to get people that are not very nice, and I think it might kind of impact the team, as sometimes the team looks shaky when we get on them. So that's the reason I would change it. But I'm really, really not sure what Gray's going to do. Liam, what's your thoughts?
I take my vitamins. I'm a believer that prevention is better than cure.
So Smith, not Jones, Solinger. Nice. Craig?
Stuck right down the middle, to be honest. I think that's a really, really difficult choice. It's a tad frustrating for the point of view. It's going to sound kind of backwards what I'm going to say, that Salinger didn't get tested more at the weekend. We didn't get a bit more of a look at him because he had next to nothing to do. But had Smith not recovered the way he did in the second half, I would have absolutely stuck with Salinger. There's absolutely no doubt about it. I think Gray will go Smith. I would expect to see Smith coming back in. I think Smith is Gray's number one at the moment. And I would imagine the plan was to swap Salinger in for that cup game. That would have been the plan before Smith made any kind of errors during the week there. I'd probably stay with Smith, to be honest. I'd stay loyal to him. I think that would be a big vote of confidence for him.
Nice. Like me, I don't mind. I think it's a good headache to have. I think that, like, Smith's proven that he can do it. Obviously, he's been a bit shaky the last couple of games, but and then Solinger, obviously, we paid money for him. He's expected to be good for the club. So at least it's a positive headache to have. Is there any other potential selection dilemmas you guys can think of? I'm pretty confident that we'll see something similar to what we've seen of late.
I think it'll be much the same. I think I would expect McGrath to be fit. I think maybe he was just left out on Sunday for the sake of looking ahead to Thursday. So hopefully he'll come back in place of Campbell. To be honest, obviously I'm Campbell's biggest supporter, but I think he's in quite a poor spell just now, isn't he? He was poor, in my opinion, again yesterday. Maybe poor is a bit harsh, but I thought he was one of the weaker players on the park for definite.
Aye.
So I would definitely be bringing Jamie McGrath back, and I think that gives you a lot more quality on the ball, a lot more composure as well. Other than that, I think it'll be pretty much as we've been for the last wee while, albeit again by the amount of minutes he's playing just now. Fair play to him, and he's keeping his performance level for the most part very high.
I mean, that
That's
fan
'cause he's
after the Kilmarnock game was saying, I never want to see Beat a play for Hibs again. Like,
Throw up,
that's probably
absolutely.
the worst take I've seen this season.
Honestly,
Sorry.
man. No, don't be daft. It's and then Hearts fans getting knocked out on penalties, saying that Derek McInnes is the worst thing in the world. It's like, why do football? I'm definitely been guilty of it before, but football fans are just so emotional. It's like, calm down for a second.
In defence of them, if you videoed me when Smith let that second goal in on Thursday, I would not have been quite as complimentary as I was tonight. So it's emotion. It is emotion.
You and Mikey literally could have like one of your heats was a bit to pop like. But anyway, one thing I've enjoyed doing of late is at the end of podcasts, I've just been asking random questions just to kind of take a few more times up, and to Liam clearly doesn't enjoy it because he's yawning, joking.
Sorry, lads.
But that's all right. The question I've got for each of you is, I should probably prepare you, but I don't. Give me a random free kick goal that you enjoyed Hibernian Football Club scoring. Just random free kick goal.
I'm trying not to pick the obvious. Griffiths at Tynecastle, that feels far too easy.
Griffiths at Easter Road as well.
The one that never was. Fucking Stevie Mallon. Did he not score a screamer against Reykjavik? Was it
NSI Runevik?
Runevik, sorry, Runevik. There you go. There's a random one.
I was thinking about that one, to be fair. I've got no recollection of goals like that, Harry. You need to prep me if someone's like that.
That's all right. I'll give you a very easy one. Nicky Cadden last year against Aberdeen. Absolute howitzer of a free kick. Gorgeous goal. But guys, leave in the comment section if you want us to talk about random topics. We can take a different one each week.
In fairness, for that question, you literally could just rhyme off about 10 of Stevie Mallon's Hibs goals, because he scored a bunch from free kicks. Absolute wand.
The angriest I've been at conceding a free kick as a Hibs fan was the one where Andy McNeil just jumped underneath Charlie Adams. I still don't understand how he done that, and it still annoys me to this day. I don't know why I brought it up.
Please don't slander Andy McNeil. I don't appreciate that.
Well, please don't jump underneath crosses from Charlie Adam and let them go in the back of the net.
Do you know one that's occurred to me for 2 seasons ago that was a random, really good free kick in a meaningless game? Do you remember Marcondes' one against St Johnstone after the split?
Ooh, aye.
That was a very good goal.
It was good. It was good. I'm terrible at remembering goals, though.
I've got another one that got away that didn't go in. Was Stevie Mallon, just while I'm on Stevie Mallon, at Tynecastle. You mind that one that Bobby Slamal saved, Harry? We were right in line with it, and it was going right towards the top corner, and out of nowhere Slamal. I think it was a free kick. It was maybe a roll off from a free kick, and it was in the postage stamp, and somehow he saved it of all people. But there's one that got away for you.
Just random, since we're on the Stevie Mallon train as well. And I don't actually know if I've ever got to mention this on the podcast, but remember, Liam, I don't know if you were at the game, we beat Dundee 4-2 away from home. And when me and Craig were there, we were adamant that Stevie Mallon had scored the greatest goal in the history of football. And we saw the replay, and the goalie palmed it in, and we were
Jack
devastated.
Hamilton in goals as well. Pretty sure it was Jack Hamilton.
No, it wasn't Jack Hamilton.
Was it not?
Was it not?
No, definitely not. It was a black guy. It wasn't Jack Hamilton.
Oh, right.
But it was honestly one of the shittest goals I've seen on replay compared to like hype to the goal.
I wasn't at the
so
game, but I did watch it on telly. There's as you get talking, there's a couple that occur to you. So Frank Sawsey at Fir Park, him and I'm going to say Dela Cruz, but I might be wrong. I might be misprofiling Dela Cruz there. But they're standing over one that's just on the edge of the D, And Sozzy's obviously known for the thunder bastard, but he just comes up and just like delicately with his instep strokes this one off the underside of the bar, and the goalie, one of the goalie just goes, "Fuck, am I meant to do with that?" Like one of those ones, really good. And another one that's not quite as vintage as that, Sam Stanton at home against Ross County. Do you remember the one for the left-hand side? So it's like in the inside channel on the left-hand side, and he steps up, and I think it goes like over the wall and round, and it's not quite top corner, but it's a really good strike, probably about 25, maybe even 30 yards. My recall's not quite what it was, so it takes me a wee bit of time, but that's Aussie one special.
Were you at the games when Sozzy was scoring, Liam?
Aye, for the most
Really?
part. Yeah, for the most part. Aye. He scored. Was it against the redeveloping the West Stand? I want to say it was against St Mirren. I remember so St Mirren had this when St Mirren had some like streets won't forget footballers back in this era, right? Like most of the guys that were overweight and couldn't run the length for themselves, but they had a centre midfielder by the name of Ricky Gillies, who I think was maybe left-footed and played in the 10. He was really tricky, good wee player. And I remember he turned up with a really good game at Easter Road, where the West Stand was being developed. I'm pretty sure Sozzy scored in that game as well. His goal record, see for us, I know he was a centre midfielder, but he played sweeper for Hibs the majority of the time. It's like 11 or 12 goals or something in like 80 appearances. Fucking wild when you think about it.
Probably just speaks to like how above the level he was.
Aye.
He's that good a footballer. He's a defensive midfielder and he can still skin everybody and score.
Always maintain Riordan was the best striker of a ball I've ever seen at Hibs. But see, in terms of like clean strikes, like as in like clean contact on the ball,
Smacking it.
Sozzy was number one. Like it's just the way he'd get his body like down and over it and like hit through the ball. It's the technique, man, was just fucking outstanding. What a player.
Speaking of Riordan, Tripper, did he score 2 free kicks in a game? Now that we're talking about free kicks, was it no against Falkirk or something? Or I made that up?
Falkirk away, maybe.
I thought it was Falkirk at home. Oh, Falkirk away. There's a Chris Commons free kick. That was a screamer.
Oh, that was a good one.
That was absolute carnage. Me and Mikey were at that. I feel like we were maybe right behind it or something, and he ran right in front of us. That. By the way, in terms of cameos for Hibs players, his whatever was it like 10-game spell or something? He was absolutely unreal. It was the difference that season.
And so chubby as well.
Oh
yeah, class.
So chubby.
Have you guys both watched Suits? You know the TV show Suits? You know how they just come up with the most bullshit ways to like solve cases? That was Neil Lennon that season. It was like rules that never existed, and Neil Lennon was like, "Well, we're going to sign this guy for 10 games, and it's allowed because I'm
an
Neil
emergency
Lennon."
loan or something. Emergency loan for a attacking midfielder. Wild, man.
Did we not try and get a goalkeeper like 2 weeks later, and we got told no? Like, it was just like, "Fuck off! You can't do the same thing twice." But yeah,
class.
Harry, just to interrupt you, I've got another random one because I know there's somebody in a group chat, Chris Black, he loves a random. He always comments in that group chat about random ones. It's Liam's look at like Melker Hallberg. Minding one of his first ever games. I feel like it was maybe Ross County at home or something. He had a free kick for, I swear it was like 35 yards, and he absolutely thundered it off the bar. I don't know if any of you remember that. I was convinced.
That rings a bell now. Aye.
I'm convinced. I'm sure it was his debut, and I was sure after that he was going to be the second coming of Christ because he was unbelievable.
He was unbelievable. He had a few brilliant games, man. Like, see the whole thing around him where he got like his name got trashed a wee bit. Like, he had more really good games for us than he had average games. Like the game we beat Motherwell 3-1 at home quite early on under Jack Ross. He was brilliant. He was brilliant when we beat Aberdeen. Was it 3-0? Martin Boyle scored the third. We absolutely bossed that day. I'm trying to think what other good games. Oh, Dundee United in the semi-final, man. He hadn't played in like months and he just got dropped into the team and he was like, yeah, he was brilliant that day.
Try to see what he's up to now. But
probably
Sweden,
they can like fucking Barcelona.
Kalmar FF. By the way, 17 matches, 6 assists. That's not bad.
Sign him up, bring him home. And on that very happy note, we will hopefully have a very cheerful breakfast club on Friday. You never know, we might actually get 3 people in the breakfast club. Craig's always doing that. Is it working? Is that what you call it, Craig? So he can never make
manual labour scum.
But yeah, I feel there's someone that's been missing for about 5 episodes. I suppose if we win on Thursday, might make an appearance, but we'll see how that goes. But in seriousness, we'll hopefully get him back on soon. Liam, Craig, thank you. Oh, that was weird. That's you guys, Liam, Craig, our coach. Anyway, thanks so much for chatting with me for the hour. Hey. I don't know how we never made that connection yet, but guys, we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
See ya. I'm on Hibs.